Hello, my lovely Christmas elves. Merry Christmas. It is just right after a quarter after 9 on the 25th of December, 2004. So I didn't think I'd come on for a live today, but I just couldn't resist. I miss you guys. I canceled the live I had set up. I think it was for yesterday. Some of these lights are moving, and we don't want that, do we? That might give somebody like an epileptic seizure or something. I'm not even kidding. There. Okay. Be still. Be still, my child. Alrighty. Are there more moving? I think there are. Yeah, those are moving. Let's get those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I think that maybe they won't be flickering and flashing. So, again, Merry Christmas. I hope you guys have all had a wonderful evening and day. Jackie Bushable, what is going on? Thanks for coming in and saying hi right away. Lovely to see you. So, I want to get right into my material because I know a lot of times I just kind of start out slow, and I need to do my disclaimer. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. Hello, Sherry. Merry Christmas, my dear. How's it going? So, I wanted to show off some new lights that my family gave me for Christmas. Very, very nice. So, you'll notice this that is usually blue is purple at the moment, but I think it's going to continuously change slowly. We'll see. But a lot of these lights are slightly different. Like this one is like more turquoise, and yeah, I love my lights. You know me. I call it the land of make believe. And then I rearranged a few things because it's like dominoes in here, not just as far as knocking things down, but if you just adjust one little light, then you got to adjust this, that, and the other thing. Is that one just going to stay the same? That's kind of cool. I like that. If it's just going to stay purple, we'll see. There's a couple others that are like that are like this is the same one. Let me see if I switch it out. Oh, I see. I did move it. Okay, where's my remote control? See if I mess them all up if I do this. Let's check it out. Come on. I don't know if it'll go right through there. There. Okay, it didn't mess up anything. Good. Because there's a whole bunch of them that kind of look like this one that are all on a remote control. So I'm really fortunate to have that because that makes it a lot easier. So my family, they love me. They want to support my YouTube in. Should I put this one right here? Maybe. Sometimes I like to just put lights behind things so you can't really see them, but it just kind of gives a little bit of a backlit glow. That's a lot of cool stuff with. Okay, I said I wasn't gonna like piddle around with my words and my stuff, but here I am. I should know myself better, right? I set myself up for that one. Um, I hope you had a great Christmas. I did. I'm so glad you did, Sherry, and I hope that Jackie did too. I have had a really nice Christmas. So it's a hard time of year for a lot of us, and I'm one of those people. And, I like to try to keep it simple. Our family, we've got 4 kids, so everybody gets pretty hyper about it. And we've always just tried to keep it focused on what it's really all about. So we usually attend the midnight mass on Christmas Eve, and we did that last night, and it was quite lovely. It was kind of hard to do it because of logistics and stuff. I was a little tired. Valerie Curto, Merry Christmas. But it's just such a nice way to end Christmas Eve and start Christmas morning. So I love that my kids actually look forward to it. Can you believe it? Like, I think I've done something right. It's amazing. So, I mean, they definitely are all about the gifts, but they really look forward to the Christmas Eve family service. Anyway, I hope that you guys are having a great day. I hope that you're feeling good and you're feeling healthy. That's really what it's all about. Taking good care of yourself, taking good care of the people around you. So, the thing I came on here to talk about mostly is our mystery person in the lawsuit against, let's call him Puff Daddy, because I don't want to get the trolls and the bots alerted. And should we call him Daisy, the other guy? You know, the one with the letter J and then that other letter that's like Justice A to Z, you know, the one at the end of the alphabet. Anyway, so I've been calling him Daisy, like Dayz, and then Pity or Puffy, or how about Brother Love? Like that's one of his new names, right? Call him Brother Love. Anyway, so that lawsuit that was amended, what was that, a week and a half ago? Today's Tuesday, I think. No, it's Wednesday, right? It's Wednesday. Ninja! True Crime is here. So nice to see you. Merry Christmas. Do you celebrate Christmas over there in Australia? I think that's where you are, right? Thanks for coming in. Okay, so the thing with I think we've all been duped, you guys. I want to get right into this. I really wanted to come on like at the beginning of the day because wasn't Daisy's wife performing at the football halftime today? I'm pretty sure she did. I looked it up because I thought she was. I haven't looked it up since it happened. So I don't know if anything big happened. If anyone did and wants to say Puff and Daisy. Yeah. Yep. Boxing Day here now. Oh, very cool. So, you know how one of my titles, I thought I was being so clever and snarky in one of my titles for one of my lives last week. I said it definitely was or was not J-Lo, the mystery celebrity B female that was in the room when that terrible, horrific incident. I almost said accident. I mean, a train wreck. The whole thing is a train wreck. When that happened in the year 2000. And I'm going to keep saying it happened in the year 2000 because I know that they've kicked out the year 2003. And I think they're just trying to do a lot of muddying the water. I think a lot of it is like that shell game with the coconuts. And so they're like, was it Bay? Was it Jenny from the Block? Was it Aaliyah? Was it Naomi Campbell? Was it there's a few other buzz names that you can throw in there, not many. Like it probably wouldn't have been Cassie. I don't think he had hooked up with Cassie yet. Kim Porter. I mean, it could have been anybody, really. It could have been a Kardashian for all we know. Or, you know, it was somebody who was famous. So we know that. That's all they've said. But I think that I'll come straight out and say it. I think that I'm trying to say it. We got duped with that weird situation where Spiro put into the memorandum attached to the lawsuit that J-Lo was accompanying Sean, Brother Love, that night to a couple of clubs after the VMAs. So they're like, oh, well, they couldn't have been at the after party because they went to a couple of clubs. It's like, you mean they were clubbing? So they couldn't have possibly gone anywhere else after a second club because nobody goes to more than one club in a night, right? I mean, I'm not a clubber, but I know how that goes. You go to as many as you can. And anyway, after parties, I think, go all night till like 5 a.m. and past that hour. So, you know, I told you guys I watched the 2000 VMAs to figure out like what the vibe was and what was going on. And Aaliyah won 2 VMAs that night. She was 22 years old at the time. Beyonce won a single one with her Destiny's Child band. So it was the 3 of them that were splitting one. So kind of she won a third of one, while Aaliyah won 2, and J-Lo actually won a single one as well. And you know, the whole VMAs were all about the Daisy and the Puffy guy and those 3 hot chicks. I mean, there were other people that were spotlit, but that group, that posse was spotlit a lot that night. I recommend it. I think it was really interesting watching it. At first, I thought I was kind of nuts for doing it. The one I watched was just slightly over 2 hours, and I watched it on double speed, I think, but then I would, like, slow it down and watch it on regular speed when it was something I was, real focused on. Anyway, my point is that I think that, Spiro intentionally threw J.Lo's name out there into the ether 10 days before the football game halftime event today. I think that J-Lo was a red herring, and I'm thinking that it was B. I'm back to thinking that it was B. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm thinking it was B, and then I'll stay caught up with all your wonderful chat here, is because they keep trying to emphasize that B and Daisy weren't together yet. Okay, it was the year 2000. She was born in 81, I think, because Aaliyah was born in 79. The year was 2000. Isn't her birthday right around there? September 7th. I think her birthday was September 4th or something like that. Bays. So anyway, she was 19, I think. We can all look it up and make sure. She might have been 20. No, I think she was 19 because Aaliyah was 21. Aaliyah turned 22 before she passed away the following summer, which was almost exactly a year, almost exactly 12 months, because the following summer, August 25th of 2001, I believe, is when Aaliyah passed away in that awful plane crash. And I just think literally that the bodies are piling up. And Bay and her Daisy, they like to swear that they never met until she was 19 or 18. They never met. They never met. And then they didn't start dating until a year or 18 months after they met. So they try to swear that they met sometime when she was around 18, and then they started dating sometime when she was like way past 19, right? Like definitely not jailbait, like definitely no statutory going on there. However, there's like handfuls of pictures that you can still find online from a few years prior to the VMAs of 2000. So I want to say as far back as 96, 97, when she was 16. And it's clear that she's 16. And Daisy is, what is he, 12 years older than her? More than that. Is he 15 years older than her? I lose track. Anyway, because right now she's in her early 40s and he's probably about 55. So maybe he's 12 years older than her. I think it's 12. Anyway, it's 12 or 15. I think 12. Let's just go with that. There's just so much information I hold in this noggin. It's amazing I remember any of it. And I don't have my crew here to fact check me, so you guys can be my crew if you want. I don't mind being fact checked at all. Actually, I prefer it because I'd rather be right in the moment than have to go back and do a little bit of cleaning up later in the notes and stuff, since I figure nobody reads the notes anyway. So the whole point is that they're constantly trying to deny that Bay and Daisy ever met each other before she turned 18, and they did. They clearly are in many, many, many photographs together, probably videotape footage too, but I haven't seen that. I've only seen the photographs when she was 16. So if they're going to keep lying about it, then that makes you think that they're trying to hide something. And I think that they met even before she was 16. If you look at all of the information about when she started recording, when she got into the hip hop scene, it was more like, I want to say 12 or 13 years old. And then it sounds like she started getting groomed, allegedly, by the guy she's married to now, at the oldest 16 years old. I mean, it's a lot like Micah Miller. It's a heck of a lot like the Micah Miller situation with the age difference, with the music, with all of it. And then being married. It's like being married doesn't nullify the statutory, if there is indeed statutory in the past. In a lot of states, there's no statute of limitations on that. So you can't just marry away the evidence. That's not how it works. I mean, in the event that some child was emancipated, maybe, and then you got married, maybe, I don't know. But I mean, if so, then isn't that what R. Kelly would have tried to have done with Aaliyah? He would have tried to skirt around those issues, and he had attorneys, so he could have done that easily if there was a way and a will. Oh my goodness, my yellow has turned green. Let me fix that real quick if I can without knocking anything over. You guys, it's just too much fun having this whole thing. Let's see when it works, if it works. And the problem with using the remote control is that it can easily change the colors of a bunch of others when I'm just trying to change one. So there. Better. Thank goodness. I was like, turquoise, green. Can't have that. Okay. So did I get my point across that Jay-Z, I didn't say that, Daisy and B probably started hooking up when she was roughly 15, allegedly, in my humble opinion. And Jackie Bushbull says, yes, I seen it. And I think you're probably talking about when I said that it definitely was or wasn't J-Lo. Because, yeah, it definitely was or wasn't, just like the title of this one. It definitely was or wasn't B also, right? I mean, and the whole thing with that shell game is just to confuse people and to gaslight people. And that's the whole thing with this too. It really doesn't matter in a sense who it was that night, because there was such a pattern of that type of thing that whether it was Jenny from the block or Bay that was in the room, or Naomi Campbell or Kardashian or whoever, Paris Hilton, Britney Spears. I mean, not to be pointing the finger every which way, but a famous woman, a celebrity, whoever it was, this is not an isolated incident. This is far from an isolated incident. So people like J-Lo and like Bay and the others, I mean, Cassie Ventura, she admits to being a part of these things in the her lawsuit. She was involved in these types of things. However, she identifies herself as the victim and is identified as such. So, you could say that about any of them, really. I mean, it sounds like anybody that interacted with Diddy was a victim of his. And, if you were in any kind of contact with him at all, you were subject to his dominance, his alpha dogging. I mean, it reminds me of like gorillas that sit in their cage and hold their junk as a way of establishing their alpha maleness. It seems to me that that's what Puffy does or did also. And he's extremely dangerous. And he hung out with Epstein. He hung out with Weinstein. And Epstein was super tight with these old douchebags in Ohio, Wexler and Michael Jeffries. So you've probably heard me talk about those names some. Jeffries and a couple of his cohorts that were doing the same type of RICO enterprise activity got arrested. I think it was this past October. It took forever and a day, and Wexler's still not arrested. I mean, I'm sure that they're, that they bonded out, but the types of things that these MFs do to establish their hierarchy to be top dog, it's absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And they all deserve whatever it is that they get coming, in my opinion. Dang it, Nancy says, Merry Christmas, Jazz. Love my lights. Do you have the colored light bulbs? I've even got LED lights all around my fence. My sons said, Mother, you shouldn't draw attention to yourself, dream squasher. Yeah, so a lot of them are candles and a lot of them are lights. So, like, I'll show you this one. I have a couple of these. I made it red so it wouldn't be so bright in your eyes, and it changes colors and it flashes. So that's, I usually have it at that kind of low level white light. I have one that's all different colors. The candles that, I've got these remote controls, and then this remote control specifically is for a package of these that I did not know that you could get these in different colors. I've only had these in white, and the white light is terrible. The white light is awful for this type of thing. So you want pretty much any color but a bright white, like a dulled white is fine. But anyway, you want the red, you want the green, you want all the other colors, because otherwise it just washes everything out and it's terrible to look at. And yeah, the remote controls help a lot, especially since I have so many of them, and I'm always trying to simplify. I seriously am. So anyway, let's keep up with your good old comments. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. I love you. I miss you so much when I'm not on. So I came on alive the day before yesterday. Was it Sunday, I think? And then I was going to try to do one, or that was a couple of days ago, right? Because today is Wednesday. I was going to try to do one Monday, and then I canceled that. I wasn't going to try to do one yesterday, but I just can't go more than a couple of days. So here we are. And yeah. Happy Boxing Day, Valerie and Ninja. I went to midnight mass last night too. It's always been a tradition. No confession, though. I would need an attorney. Hey, Valerie Curto. Merry Christmas. And Veronica's here. Hello, hello, my dear. And True Crime and Crochet is here. Oh my goodness. I'm so glad I'm seeing that. Sorry, it took me a minute. Have you all seen the movie Blink Twice? You must watch ASAP. It's a little dark, but it's got Diddy all over it. Oh, I'm going to write that down so I don't forget, because I forget everything. Blink Twice. And then I told you guys about this crazy Sharp Objects mini series that is so effing good. It just keeps getting better. I'm about halfway through it. It's 8 episodes. I think I'm about on the 4th one. And yeah, I do think that they still haven't revealed it, but I do think that we're going to get to some Munchausen's. But it's so twisted and layered and interesting, and they're just doing such a phenomenal job with it. Sharp Objects is like a psychological thriller HBO miniseries. Probably won a bunch of awards. It did. I looked some of them up, I think, on one of my last lives. Amy Adams is the one who stars in it and produced it, directed it, something like that. She's darn good. It's got an all-star cast, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Very, very cool on so many levels, and just trust me, check it out. Sharp Objects, and I will check out Blink Twice. Yeah, this stuff is nuts. I mean, the thing that I like about the Sharp Objects is that it really goes into the multi-layer issue of crimes, especially in small towns, and how things don't, I'm always saying nothing happens in a vacuum. There's a lot of retribution, there's a lot of revenge, there's a lot of like multi-generational stuff going on. So I think that is a lot of what we're seeing with Puffy. And people keep bringing up Biggie and Tupac and the incident that Puffy organized in like the early 90s, maybe around 1991, 92, 93. I think it was more like 91, where 8 people got crushed at a like hip hop sport event at a community college in New York City. And he organized that. And that was right before his career took off. And it's very sick, very twisted, very sad. And also mirrored in the Astroworld incident that happened 3 years ago, I think, 2021, like September 5th of 2021. Is that right? Was it September? Um, Anyway, and Travis Scott was dating, I called her Kylie Kardashian the other day, Kylie Jenner. So she is basically a Kardashian, but she's one of, I forget what Bruce Jenner now, his name is Kate, her name is Caitlyn Jenner. So one of Caitlyn Jenner and Kris Jenner's children, Kylie. And and then I was telling you guys about the channel that I've been watching kind of a lot lately, and it's completely slipping my mind, so I'm gonna have to look it up. The name of it. Um, and he just covered Astroworld last week, and so I talked about it in one of my videos, and I wanted to follow up with you guys because I'm trying to figure out who this one kid is that he had a clip of in his video. And that kid got scrubbed off the internet because he was eyewitness to everything that went down. He was a budding rap star. He went out into his car, and I think he was live streaming on Facebook or something, but he was like YouTubing or TikToking or something and talking about what he had just seen. And then a day or two later, Rich Lux did a very formal interview with him that was so interesting. And that interview is what I really want to find. But I'm going to look up what this Isaiah Robin is the channel that he's just been fascinating to me lately. And then there's this freaking comedian. I do not watch enough comedy. I try. I like to watch a lot of this news comedy, like the Daily Show type of stuff. But I like all kinds of comedy. I watched a live, or not live, but a stand-up routine of the guy who does the news on SNL. You know the guy, Michael Che. Michael Che. He's really funny. I've never heard of this comedian, Josh Johnson. I'm going to link him up in the description. He is brilliant. He has over 1 million subs, and I'm going to guess he's a YouTube star. I haven't looked for him on cable yet. Josh Johnson. Extremely brilliant. So he makes a lot of fun of the Diddy stuff, but he also is real serious about it. And even with like the CEO shooting and Linguini, Luigi, sorry, keeping it light, but also getting really heavy and appropriate about it, because it is really heavy, but I think it's important to keep it light when we're focusing on this stuff. So yeah, blink twice. I can't wait to see that. Because yeah, I don't know if it was anybody that's here in this chat that told me about that movie, the Luckiest Girl Alive, that Mila Kunis starred in and produced. And that was horrible. Absolutely heinous, horrible to watch, but really good. And I was really grateful that somebody in my chat recommended it, because I never would have watched it. I honestly, this is just me. I can't watch gore, and I can't watch physical intimate violations. I just can't. Like, I literally walked out of Thelma and Louise and demanded my money back when that scene was happening on the hood of the car. I was like, man, don't be glorifying that. And then people were like, oh, but the stars of the story like drove off a cliff together at the end, and it was so liberating. And it's like, oh, okay, great. So the message is, if you get revenge on your perp, then you might as well just drive off of a cliff, because there's no hope for you, right? That's how I saw it. Let's see. Replace pinned message. I'm trying to get caught up with you guys. It keeps doing the stupid stuff. Sorry. These things are so annoying. Um, he is in big trouble. Yeah, yeah. Puffy, brother love is in huge, huge trouble. Absolutely. But yeah, that was one of the jokes that Josh Johnson had was like, why does he have so many names? Is it so that when they come to his door to arrest him, he can be like, Puff Daddy? No, there's no Puff Daddy here. And Diddy? No, no, don't know any Diddy. And Love? No, don't know a Love. I do go by Brother Love, but I don't know anybody who just goes by Love. Okay. I mean, it's kind of true. Like, why would you change your name so many times? And I think he did all those massive name changes right around the time of the shooting at the club that has also been so much in the spotlight. What year was that? Was that '03? I think that was '03. Let me see. Cause yeah, I've looked into that a lot. The shooting, because J Lo was carrying his piece and P. Diddy nightclub shooting. And what's so sad about that too is the artist that they made take the fall for it. Um, it was 1999, I think. Right? So Shine is the artist that they made take the fall. And Shine is from Belize or some other country like that. And his father is a politician and he is now a politician as well. Um, but he was trying to make it in the industry, and so he was forced to take the fall. Yeah, Belize, that is right. Um, and man, yeah, I would say don't hang out with Puff Daddy. This is the kind of stuff that happens if you do. So let me see what his real name is. Moses Barrow, who goes by Shine. And then he assumed office February 1st of 2022. So he's been a politician for a little while anyway, but he's a successful politician, so that's kind of cool. But man, what a run-in with the law, and like his life could have been over. I'm sure spending 10 years in the hole, it felt like it was, right? I can't imagine. I'm very claustrophobic. I would not do well. Um, Festive greetings to True Crime and Crochet and everybody. Hope everybody had a great day. Veronica Jokester. Did I miss much? No, not too much. Just talking about that I think it was B who was in the room with her husband and her her soon to be husband at the time in the year 2000 and brother Love when that the 13-year-old was assaulted. But all this distraction, the red herring of putting J Lo's name in that addendum or memorandum with the court document filings, and then BJ investigates the true crime channel um, that surprise witness that made that little short that was like a minute long that went viral and even landed in mainstream media where she said that maybe Spiro was forgetful and accidentally released JLo's name unredacted in that paperwork. And myself and a few others were like, whatever he did, it was intentional. Him redacting her name, that was intentional. And maybe he wants to make it look like it was an accident. But then, like, the whole internet was blowing up about saying that she was alleging that it was JLo. That all worked wonders for keeping the finger from being pointed at Bay because she was performing today at halftime and for the NFL, and they couldn't have that controversy going on with the finger being pointed at her. So it's making me think that it actually was her. And especially because they keep saying like she wasn't even dating Jay-Z yet because she was 19 at the time and they met when she was 18 and they didn't start dating for a year and a half. It's just like, why do they keep saying that when it's not true? When we know for a fact that they knew each other by the time she was 16. Factual, actual factual. There's a lot of documentation of that. And for them to keep lying about it makes me think not only is Daisy trying to cover up the statutory, since there's no statute on that, but they're also trying to distract everybody from thinking about that being her that night, because with that type of bad press, she wouldn't be able to have performed in the halftime today with an allegation like that. So I think it was her. Last week I thought it was J-Lo because the way that thing that BJ Investigates did, that short got scrubbed off the internet while Down the Rabbit Hole was reviewing it in her live, and a lot of channels reviewed it. So you can still see it. And I have linked some of those. Even that surprise witness, BJ Investigates, she did her own live with her short in it. So they didn't scrub that. They just scrubbed her short because it went viral overnight. And when things get scrubbed, that always makes me really suspicious. So I thought, well, they wouldn't be scrubbing it if it wasn't Jenny from the Block. But now I'm thinking all that was just a red herring to distract us from the fact that it was B, Queen B, and that they wanted her to be able to follow through. Because how much did she get paid for her performance today? Probably, I don't know, $60 million, something like that. No chump change, that's for sure. I don't know. I've never priced out a gig like that. What's this? What's this you're saying about Travis Scott? Dang it, Nancy. Oh, Jackie, you're so nice to say you enjoy my lives. I enjoy them so much. And when I'm doing them, I'm always like feeling like I'm, jumbling my thought process and my sentences. And then when I watch them later, I'm like, no, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was while I was doing it. So I do try to review them. I try to do quality control and clean up any mistakes that I might have made. Sometimes I'll say the wrong name or the wrong year or something. And I apologize for that. I really like to be precise and accurate, but my brain is just like going in so many directions, which, I could focus it more, but people have said that they like my free association style, and I like it. It really keeps me on my toes. And I like to go with whatever it is you guys are talking about, which is completely unpredictable, right? So Dang It Nancy says, Travis Scott, I do believe that was a ritual. One of it made sense. Travis didn't wholeheartedly have remorse. No, he didn't. Dang it, Nancy. I put a link in one of my videos last week, and I'll put it again tonight, to the channel that's called something about like narcissistic personality disorder. The T on MPD, I think, is the name of the channel. And I first came across her channel when she was breaking down the entire performance from start to finish. And she comes from that world. She has survived that type of abuse. So she was just like, oh man, this is like so blatant. And it was, I believe it was Kris Jenner's 66th birthday. It happened on November 5th, but it, went after midnight. Her birthday is November 5th or November 6th, but she was turning 66 and the whole family was there. And what that kid in the Isaiah Robin video said, that young rapper, is specifically not just that they were laying out the bodies, but they were laying out the bodies in front of that family where they were sitting in the VIP section, kind of like cats bring their owners their mice, their dead mice, and put them on the doorstep. That's what it reminded him of. And he was there. He was an eyewitness. This is disgusting, that whole thing. Have you all heard of Alex Carter and what your take is on her. Allie Carter. Yeah, dang it, Nancy. Allie Carter says that she's a survivor of all this stuff. And she seems to me to be authentic. Absolutely. Yeah, I meant Allie Carter. Yes, I watched that movie because of you. Fascinating. Oh, the movie about the one that my viewers told me about, the one with Mila Kunis, The Luckiest Girl Alive. Is that the name of it? It's an absolutely terrible movie. I mean, brilliant and well done, but just awful to watch. Awful. It was about like a school shooting, and it goes really deep, really deep. And there's also essay in that one, which it just turns my stomach. I just can't do that. I can't watch it, but I can watch movies that have it in it and just like literally like look away or whatever. Um, and then, but I think it's really classy to not show those scenes. If you have good acting and good writing, you don't need to show those scenes. You can tell the story without showing a disgusting scene like the one on the hood of the car with Thelma and Louise, or like the movie The Accused. I could never watch that movie because the whole movie was like spliced with flashbacks. I was just like, no, thank you. Like, ugh. I'm devastated that that happens to people. Absolutely devastated that that happens to people. And anybody who's been through that, I would admire their perseverance and strength to overcome such indignity. And yeah, it doesn't mean anything about the victim. It just means that the perpetrators are absolute monsters. That's all it means, is that they're disgusting and they're abusive. And yeah, I worked closely with somebody who had survived an incident like that with a gang that she thought she was friends with. She thought she was one of the gang. She was a white girl and they were not white. And she thought she was like a gangster. And then that happened and she couldn't understand it. She thought these were her friends. She trusted them. She couldn't understand it at all. She was young. It was really sad. But she was tough and she was a survivor and she was a fighter. She got through it. It just was horrifying, absolutely horrifying. Um, let's see. Have you all heard of, okay, I got those. Alex or Allie, I believe. Veronica. You have been focusing on the Micah Miller case so well, and Agatha May, and it's really getting me intrigued to refocus on Micah Miller's case, because what happened to her, what JP has continued to do. I mean, JP Diddy is absolutely on par, on target. They are cut from the same cloth. I can't watch bad stuff either. It triggers me. Yeah, I just think it glorifies it too. Like, I really do think that it glorifies it. Like, because some people are going to be turned on by that. And that's gross. And if you want that, then go watch your freaking X-rated stuff. I mean, ugh, gross. She said she's Tupac daughter. There is resemblance. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that. I have no idea if that has some actual factual basis. I would imagine that it does, but I think I've heard more of the critics saying that there's no way that's true. But um, if she is, then that puts even more of a target on her, I think, for people like Daisy and Puffy. Because there's no doubt in my mind that Daisy and Puffy are responsible for Tupac, sorry, and for Biggie, and for many others, Aaliyah, um, all of the careers that they made null and void too. So one of them that I've become aware of recently is an artist from the UK who goes by MIA, and she's very articulate, and she signed with one of their companies 2 years ago, and a lot of times in business, people want to acquire a business so they can crash it and burn it, basically, so that they don't have the competition, which is what they did with her career. And she just dropped a music video last night called Marigold, or yesterday called Marigold. So check out MIA. I'll put a link to her stuff in the description too. She's like 49 or 50, and I don't know how long she's been a musician, but it seems like probably lifelong. And she writes all of her own material, which that's another thing with all of these losers from Puffy and Daisy world. Like, none of those people write their own songs, it doesn't sound like. I mean, they buy songs from people, and Puffy and Daisy would like give songs to certain artists. Like, if they thought this was going to be a hit, they'd give it to B because they wanted her to be Queen B. They wanted her to be the head of everything. And yeah, crash and burn all the upcoming young artists that might win awards or take some of the attention. Billy, darling, hey, love, nice to see you. I was just thinking about you. Lovely to see you. Her smile, and I'm not sure whose smile you talking about. Because that was what, 15 minutes ago. They all guilty as F. You said heck, but I'll say F. I don't care how rich they are. Holly Weird, totally, Billy, darling. And yeah, I've been saying we got a crew of them here in Columbus, Ohio. Michael Jeffries and Wexler. So Wexler is like a bazillionaire who's like the bankroll for Epstein and Abercrombie and Fitch, and probably I think Victoria's Secret, and all these companies that are all headquartered in Columbus, Ohio, Hollister. So Michael Jeffries would do what Diddy did to all the models, all the male models, and they'd be flying them all over the world. So, a lot of international crimes. And it took forever for Michael Jeffries to get arrested. And then Wexler has still never been arrested. And he's behind it all. Like, he's right there with Epstein. Epstein, Wexler, and Jeffries. You can Google them. They were like the Three Musketeers. And then, there was a lot, Epstein and Puffy and Weinstein. A lot. And, the president elect was in that crew too, with Puffy and Epstein and Weinstein. Horrifying, absolutely horrifying. Birds of a feather is real, right? And the people that you hang out with can really drag you down. Seriously. B is evil. Yeah, Veronica, the lyrics to her song Daughter, I was reading those in one of my lives last week. It's so bad. So freaking bad. I could reread them if you guys want me to, but I can also just leave it in that last week one. Yeah, that definitely seems like a confession. And she says fantasy. And then the whole thing with B and Daisy, their first work that they did together, they called Bonnie and Clyde. And it's like Bonnie and Clyde were responsible for more than a dozen passings aways, shall we say, and a lot of armed robbery. And I mean, the crime spree of Bonnie and Clyde is like unparalleled, and they didn't live very long either. I mean, their crime spree was brief. And it seems like B and Daisy, or I like Dizzy, that they've been living a crime spree, it seems like, to me, in my opinion. I forgot about the halftime show. Did the Cowboys win? I thought Daisy was playing halftime. I have to watch it now. I doubt he would have with what's going on. And so they wanted B to be able to still do it and still collect the paycheck because, money's money. Even when you're a billionaire, you got to keep it rolling in because it's going out the window, especially when you got all them legal fees. Those guys are going to go broke with their legal fees and having to pay all their victims. And they think that they can just keep buying people off and intimidating people, and I'm sure that they've been doing that for decades. But I think that Cat Williams had a good prophecy at the beginning of the year in his Club Shay Shay interview, where he said, 2024, all them lies are coming out into the light. So be ready for it. And I think he's saying that 2025 is going to be even worse or better, depending on how you look at it. Worse for people like Puffy, but better for people who are fighting for justice and for the people who have been hurt by these people. I mean, that's what kills me is like they hurt so many people, and then they try to do this gaslighting where they're like getting everyone all stirred up over J-Lo and the memorandum last Sunday or whenever it was last week. Was that the paperwork that was released on a Sunday? No, that was the amended version of the lawsuit that said that Celebrity A was in fact Daisy, and then it didn't say who Celebrity B is. And so of course all the speculation, and then with the memorandum was what came out where they said that J-Lo was Puffy's date that night to the Lotus and another club. And then, trying to say that Good Charlotte couldn't have possibly been at the after party because they played in the Midwest that night. They were on tour in the Midwest. And I looked it up during my live. They were playing in Chicago that night of September 7th, 2000, the night of the VMAs. And why wouldn't they hop on a plane to go to the after parties? I mean, that's the industry that they're in. Like, you need to network. And plus they probably think it's really fun to do that kind of crazy after party ick. So, they never said that they weren't at the after party. All they said is that they were on tour in the Midwest. So they were like inferring that they couldn't have been at the after party, but no, they could have been both. They could have been on tour in the Midwest, hopped on a 90-minute plane ride to New York, and still made it to the after party with time to spare. I mean, the after party probably went till 5 or 6 in the morning at least. Who's the person that broke it down? The venue was made to look like a mouth entering. The channel is called of the TNPD. It's a really good channel. So her specialty is narcissism and like being a survivor of narcissistic abuse. So let me get the name of her channel right. NPD. The T on NPD and relationships is the full name of the channel. She just surpassed 100,000 subs. Good for her. 102,000 subs. So that was 3 years ago. And that was the first time I'd ever heard of her channel because I was kind of new to true crime on YouTube. And when that Travis Scott thing happened, that really got me into the true crime on YouTube stuff. So there weren't a lot of channels covering it. And then there was a lot of this pushback like, oh, it's just a bunch of satanic panic. That's not what it was. That's definitely what it was. There's absolutely zero doubt that that is exactly what it was. And then this guy, Isaiah Robin, he's focused on God versus evil, good versus evil, and trying to help people choose God rather than going the wrong way. And I think that's magnificent. But also, he's one of the few channels who will focus on that type of dark ritual stuff. And you can look it up. I can maybe link it. A photo shoot that Kylie Jenner did with a lot of red stuff oozing all over her without any clothes. And even some of it, like she's got like some kind of hooves instead of feet. It looks like she's got hooves and a lot like a bath, an absolute slaughter. and it was like an advertisement for perfume or something, you guys. It was around the same time. It was around the same time as the Travis Scott concert. Puff has never written his own music, LOL. And, I've tried writing my own music. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to write a song. You got to have ideas and lyrics and a beat. And, I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of artists that do write their own material, but there's so many that don't. So I really love the artists that do, like Jewel and Neil Young and Ricky Lee Jones and Joni Mitchell, and I mean the Beatles. You had John Lennon and Paul McCartney writing most of it. And then the Rolling Stones. I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing covers, but like those guys did a lot of covers and they did a lot of their own unique stuff. Oh, and you know what I learned about the Rolling Stones recently, because I'm always studying them, is that a lot of their early stuff with Brian Jones in it, like think of that song Ruby Tuesday, where there's like Tinkerbell noises, do 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 do. Or I'm thinking of She's Like a Rainbow. Those songs with all these like really weird, like high pitched kind of like xylophone noises or things, like you can't even identify what they are. That's like Brian Jones just grabbing whatever instruments he feels like and playing around on their stuff. So that's a lot of the creativity that that guy had before he went down the dark path and ended up dead in a pool. Wexler is definitely guilty. Billy Darling, he's 86. He's 86 years old. Will he ever be arrested? I mean, he's like a hero at OSU. Like every building is named after him, all these hospitals and stuff. I mean, because he's dumped so much money into OSU. And OSU, I love OSU. My grandparents went to school there. My mother was born there. They've been saving my dog's life with the cancer treatment. I love OSU, but they've got a dark, dark past with their sports and with assaults. I mean, every college does, but OSU, it's been coming out a lot of the horrible things that the coaches and the sports administrators have done to some of their athletes. And again, systemically, absolutely systemically. It's so disgusting. Got kicked off. It keeps buffering, but back now. Well, see, I wonder if that's just technological difficulty because that happens, or if it's because I'm not talking in code enough. I mean, I don't like talking in code too much because some people might not be able to follow, and some people might think I'm being a little paranoid. But there's definitely trolls and bots, and with the stuff going on with Brother Love and Daisy and B and Jenny from the Block, all that going on right now, the internet is heavy with the trolls and the bots to try to clean that up. They're trying to get stuff scrubbed left and right. They're doing so much damage control. I mean, which to me just tells me that it's all true. I mean, of course, you don't want to get slandered on the internet, but if it was just slander, you'd just file lawsuits. You wouldn't worry so much about public opinion. But since they know they're going to lose the lawsuits, they're trying to win in the court of public opinion, is my opinion. That's how I see it. And Bonnie and Clyde are not heroes, right, Billy Darling? Just like Billy the Kid, not a hero. And Luigi Mangione, not a hero. Um, you know, it's like don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I mean, I guess Luigi Mangione idolized the Unabomber, right? I mean, allegedly, he gave the manifesto of the Unabomber like a 4-star rating on his reads tab or something like that. It makes me think of like Timothy McVeigh. Like, how many people did McVeigh hurt? I mean, there were a lot of little kids in that bombing, Oklahoma City bombing of the federal building. There was a daycare. were little freaking kids that got blown up by that monster. And in my estimation, that was like the first like American doing a terrorist act on American soil that I know of anyway. Yes, Blue Ivy not being her daughter, the reason she wrote the song "Sick, Sick People," right? And the song, it sounds like she took the life of the person that she wrote the song about. You know, that their red stuff is all over the bathroom and on her couture, and that the attendant just let her right in. Is like, is that the apartment attendant? Because she kind of makes it sound like a bathroom attendant, but it was probably like, you know, an apartment door person that she's in her lyrics. She says, they said they were a big fan. Let me right in. No questions. Unbelievable. Jazz, we should have a slumber party. It would be a blast. That's cute. Dang it, Nancy. I didn't expect to stay on this long. I've already been on an hour. I can hardly do a live in under an hour. I just get so caught up with talking with you guys. So thanks for being here and Merry Christmas. You guys are making my Christmas very merry. Nice way to end the day. The studio's been doing blackmail parties from the start. Disgusting. Yeah, like think about Natalie Wood, even, you guys. Like, I was living in Southern California, not too far from Catalina Island when that happened. And then Robert Wagner was her husband, and James Wood and her, the three of them were on a boat out Catalina Island. A lot of drinking, a lot of hanky panky, a lot of fighting. And then, you know, she's dead in the water. And it's only been the last couple of years that Robert Wagner, didn't he pass away and it came out? And then James Wood is still famous. Like, gross. So James Wood, or am I crossing my wires? Christopher Watkin. It's Christopher Watkin. I forget if James Wood is involved in that story or not. Anyway, I've always been a big fan of Christopher Watkin, but he's got a good reason that he is always playing such spooky characters, because he's a lot of the spook in Hollywood, it seems. And then, yeah. Oh, let's see. Even in the silent movies. Oh, I bet. Affleck is no prize either. Billy Darling. I love that. That's hilarious. Oh, Veronica, you gifted a membership. Oh, you're so sweet. I only have a very small handful of members, and that is so exciting. That's the first time that's happened, my dear. Holy crap. Can't believe it. Let me get caught up. The T on NPD. Yeah. They made Bruce Jenner a pretend female for F's sake, like a humiliation ritual. Wow, Billy Darling, I've never thought of it like that. I thought that it was her decision to do that. But yeah, you could be right 100%. Yeah, there could have been a lot of blackmailing and threatening going on there. Do you remember the Satan shoes? Ew. Are you talking about with the Kardashian or the Jenner kid? I don't remember. If you want to put it in the chat. Buying someone's song is one thing, but stealing music is another. Yeah, totally. You know, and so much art, so much of YouTube, we are all mimicking each other, parroting each other. And I'd like to say imitation is the highest compliment, but it's important to not pretend that you invented stuff that you didn't invent. It's important to give credit where credit is due, even if you're not going to get sued for it, just because it shows your freaking character. Grr. It burns me up because my channel is so small and I see people still ripping off my material just even in the last few weeks. You know, when I'm putting really unique ideas in my videos that nobody else has come up with, and then a couple of days later, some giant channels talking the same talk. It's just like, sure, you can pretend that you thought of it too, but you know, when I see the pattern with a couple of certain channels that I've seen that pattern with over the years that I've been doing this, and one of those channels, she does that to everybody. She does that to everybody. So, um, I want to get caught up because I'm way behind. But before I forget, I also wanted to talk some about the Idaho 4 case because that whole mess about Koberger being um, identified as a person of interest in a breaking and entering in October of 2021, that whole thing is just a shit show. And it is, again, it's just gaslighting to confuse people and take the focus away from what really matters, which is justice. And yeah, let's talk about that. But let me first get caught up again. Um, let's see. Veronica, the red shoe and what they're made of. Are you talking about the red shoes in the Wizard of Oz? Because those were silver in the original story. He's so gross. The ones that had the red stuff in them. Is this Kardashian stuff or Jenner stuff? I mean, I don't know nothing about that. Old white men are a bane on human existence, especially the pedos. Yeah, it was the guy that was doing music and pressing an agenda. Oh, yeah, Veronica. Message redacted. Beehive freaking out, probably. They don't like us speaking truth. Freaking out, haha. I said the reason Ben Affleck divorced JLo is because he saw what was on the videos. Ouch, domino effect for sure. Yeah, I think that when Diddy's properties were raided, that she was freaking out that things were going to come back on her, like with the shooting at the nightclub, and then you know then this other stuff like with the statutory assaults and her witnessing them, she was probably telling her husband that she was worried about it biting her on the rear end, and he probably just freaked out, wanted nothing to do with it. um I mean, what a mess. What an absolute mess. And thank you, Veronica. Again, that is just the coolest. I was gifted a membership. So you got gifted a membership by you. That's hilarious because it's the computer that does it. Dang it. Second time I've gifted one and I got it. That's so funny. That is hilarious. They should not do that. They should have it the algorithm so that that doesn't happen. CJ got into trouble for discovering on a live about the Luigi guy. Oh, tell me, please tell me, because yeah, the Luigi guy. I guess there's like I haven't watched the videos, but it looks like there's some conflicts of interest with like the judge and Mayor Adams, and I don't know. I don't know. This comedian Josh Johnson was tearing it up about the Luigi case. I mean, really funny and really serious at the same time. Exact same time. Thanks a million, Veronica. That is so cool. Bex was gifted a membership. Woohoo! Congratulations, Bex. What lovely Christmas presents, you guys. I love it. Um, what's going on? I'm trying to uh highlight that. It's not letting me highlight it. Why? Why? Here, I'm gonna see if I can highlight that one. Replace pin message. Okay, it's gonna let me do that one. Oh, it won't let me highlight it because it's not a comment. I got you. I got it. I get it. Because Natalie said no and they offed her. Well, yeah, there was a lot of sexual tension, I think, with Natalie and the guy who wasn't her husband. I think it was Watkin, Christopher Watkin, that was there. James Wood was involved in some other creepy crap, I think. You guys know the story about James Wood and how Remember that actress Sean Young that was in No Way Out with Kevin Costner? She was beautiful. She was in a lot of great movies. She was like the it girl for a while until James Wood tried to have his way with her, and not only did she reject him, but when he was asleep, she super glued his member to his leg, and then she got blacklisted. Allegedly. Allegedly. It was James Woods with Natalie. Because yeah, then where was it that Christopher Watkin came into the picture? A lot like JP Diddy's church getting blackmail in the church. I love Watkin. I do too, but yeah, he's been involved in some creepy crap. No, it was Watkin. No, I was it. Let's look it up. Let's look it up. Because it I'm getting my wires crossed on that. It's hard to remember. Natalie Wood. Yeah, I was like 14 when that happened, and I was so sad because we would go to Catalina Island kind of routinely for little vacations, and I'd been out on the boats there. It's an adorable little place to visit. Natalie Wood, night of drowning. I don't think she drowned though. It's sort of like the mob when somebody's in the water, Kylie Rodney. When the body's in the water, that means they drowned, even if there's no water in their lungs, right? So Christopher Watkin and Wagner. So what scandal? I'm going to see what scandal. I'm just going to Google scandal with James Woods. And then there's that other actor that reminds me of Christopher Watkin, the one who was in like the Spider-Man movies. What was the thing that I was going to come back to? The thing I was going to come back to was about Koberger. Okay. So I Googled scandal James Woods, and I don't know. Credit card fraud. What? Anyway, I'll catch up on all that later. So he was in the movie Oppenheimer. I haven't seen that. I'd like to. Anyway, yeah. So let's talk about Koberger. Let me write that down and stay caught up with you guys. So yeah, Christopher Watkin and I almost have his name. I'm gonna just have to Google Spider-Man. Was he in Spider-Man 1, 2, or 3? William Dafoe. There. See, I didn't even have to. I just need to start pretending that I'm going to Google, and then my brain starts to function. So William Dafoe and Christopher Watkin, I think they're both great. They both play these really creepy characters very well. Christopher Watkin was in one of my favorite movies called Excess Baggage that Elisa Silverstone and Benicio del Toro and Harry Connick Jr. Oh my God, if you haven't seen Excess Baggage, you got to see it. Okay, let's keep going and stay caught up. Cough, cough, Robbie. Oh, God, I can't stand him anymore. Veronica, I cannot stand him. Yeah. He just needs to give it up. He's such a phony, and he's just such a drama queen. Ugh, gross. They were tennis shoes, Jenner stuff. J-Lo tried to marry a white boy to look legit. That's funny. Well, and just because he's like a Cary Grant kind of, he's got like a Cary Grant appeal, and she's just all about looks and image. Let's see. Does it show who got it? Oh, do tell about Luigi. Oh, he's just so darn good looking. So that comedian Josh, did I say his name was Josh Jackson or something like that? Um, he was hilarious talking about like how even when they took mug shots of him, he was looking so hot. How they were like getting him at different angles. Like his quote was like he did everything short of like biting his lip for his mug shots, and how people were like spotting him eating the hash brown, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's eating a hash brown. That means it had to be before 10:30." But you know, the big thing with Luigi that they haven't been talking about is what I shared with you guys on my little channel here. And I have a feeling it's going to go viral, not because of me, but because I think it's probably true, is that it was not a person that ID'd him. It was the artificial intelligence at the kiosk that ID'd him. And that McDonald's just doesn't want everyone to know that they're being surveilled in their restaurant, when of course they're being surveilled in their restaurant. I mean, I'm sure there's cameras all over McDonald's, all over. And Billy Darling, with your comment about marry a white boy to look legit, you make me think of that song. Is it Offspring? All the girlies say I'm pretty fly for a white guy. Does it show who got? Okay, yeah, Luigi, Veronica. That is funny. Love Josh. Oh, Billy Darling, you know this comedian? He's a freaking genius. I just discovered him, I think, today, or maybe yesterday or the day before. He was coming through my feed, and I wasn't even really, a lot of times I don't pay attention to what my feed is trying to feed me. But I'm glad I did. Deleted the video he got in YouTube trouble. CJ deleted the video, he got in YouTube trouble. Oh, I did see something about that. Yeah. I don't know a lot of details. Oh, and look, Veronica's got her little Justice A to Z thingamabob now emoji that she can use. Isn't that cute? Dune, love Sean Young. They did her dirty. Right, is because she super glued James Woods' Woody to his leggy. Blade Runner. Veronica, do you know what kind of trouble CJ got in? Maybe it's just me, but I question his intentions and possibly an opportunist. Interesting, dang it, Nancy. He is very different in his approach. And yeah, I think no shade to CJ. To me, he seems legit. I haven't watched him that much, but I like his approach. I didn't like it when he took the 2 peaches from JP. I thought that was foolish. I thought he could have gotten poisoned and died. And maybe he did get poisoned and he's going to die of cancer. I mean, I sure hope not. But I thought that was nuts that he accepted those 2 peaches, even though JP picked them from the tree in front of him. That doesn't mean that he didn't already inject them with stuff or that he hadn't already poisoned that tree. But yeah, I like his style. I don't question his intentions, but I think it's important to question all of our intentions, all of us YouTubers, because YouTube is a freaking crap show. And there's so many losers, I think, on YouTube. Not to say that I'm better than anybody, because I'm not. We're all human. But I think that there's a lot of paid actors on YouTube, and it's becoming more apparent. People are talking about it more. There's a lot of people that get paid to post things on Facebook. There's a lot of people that get paid to make videos coming from a certain angle. And, even if you're not like straight up taking money to make videos like that, if you're guiding your content based on how much money you can make, to me, that is quickly going to distort your view and your ability to tell truth from fiction. And so many YouTubers are just trying to get the clicks, the likes, and the money. The whole bait and switch thing, I am absolutely sick and tired of. And even the mainstream media does it. That's what we're going to talk about once I get all caught up with the whole thing, going back to Idaho 4. She drowned when they threw her off the boat. Well, I think they beat her first, Billy Darling. Message redacted. His pay got suspended and monetization. They even did that to Paula Plunder a few years ago. I think that some of that is just like the shadow banning. I mean, I truly believe I've been shadow banned ever since I started. And, what are you going to do? I still have yet to have gotten my first paycheck, you guys. Like, I literally have not earned more than 15 cents from YouTube yet, and it's been 2.5 years. But, maybe someday they'll pay me what they owe me. That's my belief anyway, that, I keep appeasing them. Like, they just keep having me jump through these hoops. Like right now, the hoop is that, my married name is hyphenated and my name on my social security card is not hyphenated. So they're like having a headache over that. It's like, really, how many women that have YouTube channels have that exact issue? Like, give me a freaking break. Again, that's the trouble with being a woman and our names changing, right? The bull is so hot. Benny the Bull. I don't know what that is. Allie Carter says it's Puffy's clone that's locked up. Whoa, dang it, Nancy. That's wild. That's pretty out there. And that could be like that she has a mental illness issue because of everything she's been through. Or it could be that, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of body doubles. All famous people have body doubles for different reasons. But yeah, I know that Allie Carter can go off the deep end. And that sounds like the deep end, but truth is stranger than fiction. And when you have bazillions of dollars, you can probably pay for somebody to pretend that they're you and serve time for you. I saw Josh first on Comedy Central. Oh, okay, cool. So he is on cable. I don't know who Rob or CJ is, and I'm so glad. LOL. So Rob is Robbie Harvey. He did a lot of the work in the Micah Miller case, and he's a freaking joke. I tried to not judge him, but I think that I was giving him too much leniency. I think he's awful. I think he's a freaking nightmare. CJ, I like. CJ is kind of goofy. He does things his own way. He's kind of loosey goosey. He seems like he has good intentions, but he was going to the protests at the Solid Rock with the Micah Miller case. And Veronica is right on top of all the Micah Miller stuff. Hope you all have a wonderful night. I'm going to get some much needed rest. CJ helps victims. All these guys have massive members for the studio's couch casting, NGL, and EW. He's a real one. Okay, you're talking about CJ. Good to know, Veronica. And still, it's like, I mean, I think it's good to vet ourselves and vet each other constantly, right? Let's see. The guy that does the soft underbelly is a freak, in my opinion, pervy with the stories. I don't know what the soft underbelly guy is. I don't know if you're talking about the Robbie Harvey channel or something else. Have you noticed YouTube trying to be more like TikTok? I haven't, because I don't do TikTok, so I don't know. TikTok is CCP spyware, y'all. Delete it. Oh man, that's crazy, Billy darling. I believe it though. I believe it. I mean, all these things are spying on us. All of them. And we're signing up for it, but that's just life these days. Spyware and propaganda. Yeah. Yeah. And that other thing, X. Ugh. Dang it, Nancy, can you buy subscriptions on a channel to make it look like you have more? I think that you can. I think that a lot of channels probably do that, and it's supposed to be illegal. Like, you're supposed to get in trouble for doing it, but I don't know that people get in trouble for doing it. It's just like you're supposed to get in trouble in court for perjury, but hardly ever does anyone actually get in trouble for perjuring themselves. And perjury, people commit perjury in court all the time, including judges and lawyers and law enforcement. I've seen it. numbers of times. Filing falsified court documents, that's supposed to get you in big trouble too. And it doesn't usually. It's supposed to discourage it. And it does, I think, discourage it, but I think people still do it and then they don't get reprimanded the way they should be. YouTube is an algorithm, right? And yes, true crime and truth get shadow banned. Absolutely. Mine is hyphen and also Banks Riot. Yeah, I know. I know. I have a really tough time with it, but it's worth it. I want to keep my own last name for a lot of reasons, and I want to have the same last name as my husband and children for a lot of reasons. So that's why I hyphenate. We were going to hyphenate the kids, but once they were born, we were like, nah, we don't want to torture them with that. But, okay. Benicio del Toro is Benny the Bulls. Benicio is the bomb diggity. He's so hot he was hot in Traffic. That was where everybody in the nation was noticing his hotness. But in Excess Baggage, nobody knew who he was. And I just fell so hard for him. But I've also always had a thing for the other guy, Harry Connick Jr. Oh my God, I love that man. I go completely girl crazy for him, boy crazy for him. They compare faces. One has a very clear complexion and the real one doesn't. Oh my goodness. Dang it, Nancy. That is wild. Yeah, his face is so weird. Like in that video, his quote unquote apology video where he's got the mutton chops on and he doesn't look anything like himself. But a lot of that can be like camera angle and, retaining water from substances and alcohol and a bad diet, stress, lack of sleep, lack of exercise. You need to see the movie with Jamie Foxx about the clones. Yeah, I do. And is it Jamie Foxx who says that Puffy poisoned him? I don't see how they can clone a human so fast, so probably did plastic surgery on some poor person. Well, that's, the whole conspiracy with Paul McCartney, and they call the current Paul McCartney Fall for fake Paul. There's that whole conspiracy theory that the real Paul McCartney passed away in a car crash in the late 60s when they were working on Abbey Road. And there's all the symbolism in Abbey Road. There's all the symbolism in Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. There's all the symbolism in the songs. And of course they deny it, but they can't admit it. But there's a lot with Paul McCartney and his refusal to do DNA tests with people who claim that they are indeed his child. So I believe that they had a body double for Paul McCartney so that they could finish out their contract. I think it was with Apple Records, and they didn't see it going on for over 50 years. But, once the Queen knighted him and then passed away, there's no going back on that. You can't admit that you duped the freaking Queen of England. They'd be sent to the guillotine. Heather Mills, the amputee model who had married him briefly, she seems to talk about it almost in some of her interviews, but she signed a confidentiality agreement. But that was why she divorced him, was because he was a fraud. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. I don't talk about it too often. Let's see. Where are we at? Yeah, I do need to see the movie with Jamie Foxx. I don't see how they can clone a human so fast. Okay, read that one. We did a lot of work and he stole it. Oh, Robbie Harvey stole your work, Veronica? Is that what you're saying? Because yes, and protecting the protesters. Is that what you're saying? I don't want to be putting that in my conversation if it's not accurate, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. Where'd it go? Where are we located now? Protecting the protesters. Veronica, are you talking about Jamie Foxx on Netflix? Soft underbelly. That's CCP, not us. X is gross. Elon is psychotic. I'm glad you agree with me on that, Billy, darling. I agree with you. Oh my goodness. He really scares me that he wants to like own Mars. It's like you can't own Mars. What are you going to do? Try to like own the freaking galaxy and the universe? Like and if you touch Mars, if you try to reap the elements from Mars, who knows what that could do to the homeostasis in our galaxy. I mean, he could like do more than blow up the world. He could like blow up the entire solar system. Seriously, like you can't mess with stuff like that. And why would you even want to? Oh, he's so gross. I can't stand him. Soto, Veronica Jokester says, Jen Soto. CCP runs TikTok. I'm thinking that's like China, CCP. Eat the rich. Oh, you're so funny. Well, the whole thing with like cannibalism, getting back to that with that came up with Kylie Rodney's story with that case, and with anytime you're dealing with satanic, Titanic ritual stuff. Um, I think that's a huge part of it. It's disgusting, but I believe that they do that because and they call it long pig, you guys. Have you heard that term? There's like a term for it, long pig. And I think that that's what they call it because that's what it tastes like. It's like the limbs are longer, but it tastes like pork. Trigger warning. Gross. Let's see. Elon is definitely in his own little world. Oh, he's so creepy. He was hot in The Way of the Gun. Is that Benicio? I have not seen that. Oh, that apology video is AI. The P Diddy apology video. He looked so ugly. Fugly. I like to say fugly. The Beatles Abbey Road cover was a gimmick. It's good. It's a good gimmick. But yeah, the whole story about the car accident and the fight that John Lennon and Paul McCartney got in that night. And then is Paul McCartney's fiance back then, I want to say her name was Jane Asher, if I'm remembering right. And she was like a little Martha Stewart, like a teenage Martha Stewart in the UK. She was extremely successful, very wealthy family, but also like, making all this money as a teenager. And then they were engaged for like 5 or 6 years. And then around the same time frame as this alleged car accident that they pretend he didn't get in, a few months later, she called off the engagement. And she's written like 3 novels about weird stories that seem like she's still alive. She's still like a very successful Martha Stewart of the UK. I think her name is Jane Asher. Let me look it up though, because if I'm incorrect, I want to be able to tell you what her name actually is. Yeah, Jane Asher and Paul McCartney. She's adorable. Asher is spelled ASHER, and she's 78 years old. And I think she's been married to the same guy since 1981. And she's got kids. And yeah, they were such a cute couple. Wait, she has a lot of kids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids. Wow. What happened between Paul and Jane? How old was Jane Asher when she dated Paul McCartney? Who was the true love of Paul McCartney? Okay. Anyway, yeah, that whole thing is fascinating. That's a rabbit hole you can fall down on the internet if you just Google the whole fake Paul thing. It's very fascinating, and I think it's entirely plausible. Honestly, I believe it. I do. I've done a lot of deep dives on it, and I think that it's true and accurate, and that they'll never admit it. Because it's too much fraud. Like, I mean, all those billions of dollars that the Beatles estate, I mean, all that fraud, like, what a freaking mess. What a hot mess. Um, let's see. Nahas, if the wooing of England wasn't a freak and robber baron. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Billy Darling. Nahas, if the woozin of England wasn't a freak and robber baron. Are you talking about the royalty? Because yeah, I'm not down with the whole royalty crap. Um, Jazz, I was going to bring up exactly everything you're saying. Yes, Strawberry Fields is symbolic about the real Paul McCartney. Get out of my brain, Jazz. LOL. Dang it, Nancy, you're cracking me up. That's so funny. Yeah, a lot of their songs are possibly very symbolic. And then the songs that you play backwards, the one that says Paul is dead, and then, all of the stories that they would tell about, like, oh no, people hear these things that aren't really there. Like, there was something about cranberries, like John Lennon would joke around like that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I like cranberries. But I'll look that up and try to talk about it in one of my upcoming videos with you guys. I loathe Elon. I interviewed for Tesla and so glad I took my career elsewhere. Wow. Well, yeah, you wouldn't want to have anything to do with those ugly cyber cars, the cyber trucks. They're insane. I loathe Joe Rogan also. He is dumber than dirt. I am not a fan of his at all, and not at all. I mean, I can respect some things about him, but yeah. The meek need to go on and inherit the earth. I agree, Billy Darling. Thank you for spending your Christmas evening with us. It truly means a lot. Tell your hubby, your hunky hubby, and your family we said Christmas tree. No, not the backward music. Totally creeps me out. Dang it, Nancy. I know, I know. So before I wrap up, let me just talk about that thing with the Koberger being identified. Oh, she was identified in January of 2023 as a person of interest in a breaking and entering from October of 2021. And in that breaking and entering, that's what one of Paula Plunder's most recent drops is about. And it's like an hour and 22 minutes. And I watched all the body cam footage, and all it does is prove, in my opinion, that he had nothing to do with it. And in my opinion, the law enforcement was using that to hang their hat on to kind of like stack the charges basically. And if you'll remember, early in the Idaho 4 case, they were bringing up every missing person that had been in like 100-mile radius of Koberger for years. And they were like, oh, maybe he was involved in this, maybe he was involved in that. They came up with absolutely nothing. I mean, the creepiest things they could find on him were a girl that he had a crush on in junior high school, the Kindle date, and that he stole his sister's phone and sold it for rug money when he was 19, and that the sister and the dad pressed charges. And that's all the dirt they could find on him in the last over 2 years, or I guess it's exactly 2 years now since he was arrested, coming up on the 2-year anniversary. But they've had him in custody this whole time, which, I don't know that he did or didn't do it, but if he didn't do it and they've been keeping him in custody this whole time, I mean, the whole case is sus AF. It's like more sus than Kylie's case, in my opinion. It's a crazy one. But what makes the whole thing super crazy with Paula Plunder's video, and I want to give a huge shout out to Jules of All Trades for noticing that in Paula Plunder's video, she says thanks to this content creator named Jen, who is Gigi, the little freaking redhead from Arkansas, who was a TikToker who came out onto the streets of YouTube and said, I've got the letter of reprimand from Koberger getting into trouble at WSU. And that letter, I don't believe exists. And if anybody had that type of retribution because of animosity from work and uh, at Wazoo, it would be is it Matthew Kurt is the guy who got himself resigned on November 4th of 2022, 8 days before the quadruple homicide. Matthew Kurt was responsible not just for getting himself resigned, but for getting the 3 command officers resigned, the police chief, the captain, and the assistant chief, because of all of his shenanigans and not being able to keep it in his pants. And so they all got resigned over the summer instead of reprimanded for their shenanigans. And then that police chief came over from the Pullman PD to clean up the mess at the Wazoo PD when that Chief Jenkins was the guy who interviewed Koberger on April 12th of 2022. And Chief Jenkins was also in charge of a sergeant that, like Matthew Kurt, did some terrible stuff with assaulting an 18-year-old freshman. And I always forget his name. He's such a piece of crap. Pullman PD. And they were together that night with that 18-year-old. So they both probably assaulted her together. Another one. Let's see. No, that's not going to do it. Hold on. Oh, what was that guy's name? Do you guys want to help me out with that if you can? I think it's right here. Let's see if this shows it to me. And so Gary Jenkins was this guy's supervisor. And whether he knew or not what had happened, yeah, this one is Dan Hargraves. So glad I looked that up. It was driving me nuts. So Dan Hargraves assaulted this 18-year-old when she was not only intoxicated, but also having a diabetes medical emergency. But he had his friend Matthew Kurt help him assault her. And the two of them, it's just disgusting. So if Gary Jenkins wasn't able to keep his own officers under control in that regard, why in the world is he going over to Wazoo to clean up the mess with that type of stuff going on with Matthew Kurt? So Hargraves and Kurt were both doing the same things, and Hargraves was being supervised by Gary Jenkins. That's the kind of effery that just drives me freaking nuts. And here, I'll just read. Should I? No, it's getting so late. We've been on for almost 2 hours already. I was going to read a little bit. I'll just put a link to this article in the description if you want to read about the misconduct of the intimate personal gratification nature. Very, very sad. So yeah, let's sign off. We've been on for a long time, and thank you for spending some of your Christmas night with me. It's 11:01. It's almost 11:11. So thank you, dang it, Nancy. Justice for Brian Koberger. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that he's innocent, but it certainly seems like he's being framed. It certainly seems like the police and the president of that university. And I mean, the whole thing with the football game and the frats and all that, I mean, it's gross, but football games and sexual favors, after parties, all that goes together. And there was that big football game that night with UC Davis, and UC Davis kicked their butts. I think they had like double the points. I think it was like 40-20-ish. And that game was at like 4:00. I think it finished up at about, I want to say 7. And why don't they mention anything about the football game when they talk about the case? It's like they try to keep it separated. And again, Wazoo is the big football school. University of Idaho is not known for its football. Wazoo is known for its football. I mean, they rake in bucks at Wazoo with their football. Big bucks. That's why they pay all their sergeants like 6 figures. They have like 20 sergeants or something on campus. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And then a bunch of those sergeants were part of the SWAT team that took out Kopaka. I mean, my goodness, the whole thing is just a freaking rabbit hole. I mean, it's really sad. Those people that were slaughtered deserve justice. And it seems like that billionaire Coomer Scott Green is in over his eyeballs. It seems like he was the boss of Chief Small Fry, who quit his job with 29 years under his belt, resigned, did not win the election for sheriff that just passed last month. And what is he, like unemployed now? And, so he quits midstream during like the crime of the century when it's still unsolved, still outstanding. And he's like not upset that it took his lead detective 4 hours to arrive. They don't talk about the 12 hours from the time that the crime happened until the lead sergeant arrived, or the lead corporal. He's probably a sergeant by now, Brett Payne. But Sergeant Blaker and Corporal Payne, I don't know if they came in the same car, but they got there at the same time together, 4 hours late, or 4 hours after everybody else. But during those 4 hours, there was a lot of law enforcement there, and none of them noticed any sheath that is like so sus. That whole thing with that sheath. Oh, but his DNA was on it. But yeah, Blaker is highly questionable. The guy who is from the Idaho State Highway Patrol, that trooper, he's the one who took the sheath into evidence, even though it was Moscow PD's case, and it was the corporal, the lead detective, and the Sergeant Blaker who said that they saw it. Why in the world would the trooper take it into his department's custody? And then it was tested in the Idaho lab. They didn't find anything on it. And then they sent it to the Texas lab, where they claim that they found this small amount of trace DNA in the back of the button snap. And that specific trooper, we need to look up his name and then we'll sign off here, is the one who was involved in a Brady Giglio complaint with Dr. Drake's Red Rum over there in Bonner's Ferry. Dr. Drake, I know it's just crazy to try to follow it. If you're not following the case and I just lost you, I apologize. Dr. Drake, Bonner Ferry, and the other doctor that false confession. Allegedly. I just want to find that sergeant's name, because so it was 2 chiropractors. Oh, and they still haven't solved it. As of March 9th of 2023, it was still unsolved. Now that's weird. So Dr. Daniel Moore is the chiropractor who filed the complaint against is his last name Ispin or something like that? The Idaho State Trooper. I think it'll be in this document right here. Let me see. Tolson, Gary Tolson. Ispin. That was random. Sure, Tolson, Ispin. Okay. Anyway, so Trooper Tolson is the one who took that alleged sheath into evidence when it was the lead detective and the sergeant that said that they saw it. Why would they give it to the highway patrol guy who's got a Brady Giglio already? Gary Tolson. That's sus AF. It's also sus AF that there was nothing found on the sheath when they tested it in the state of Idaho, but then they send it to Texas and they find allegedly what they say they found. Okay. Dang it, Nancy says, I really hope the conspiracy that is really not him in jail is true. He's not bad looking and wouldn't have issues with the ladies, especially girls flirting for the good grades. Oh, I thought you were talking about Puff Daddy. I'm like, dang it, Nancy, are you crazy? What you talking about? Okay, you're talking about Koberger. Oh yeah, that whole thing, like, oh, he hated women, he was a harsh grader, he was a vegan. Come on. It's like, okay, you should be a harsh grader when you're a professor. If other grading is hard work, and if you're lazy, then you can just be an easy pushover of a grader. But yeah, correcting students' work, it's very laborious and time consuming, and you don't get paid any extra whether you're a good grader or not. But your students aren't going to learn unless you're a good grader. So that whole thing was nuts. And then the whole thing with the photographs of him with his little Handmaid's Tale book in his hands and Atwood not standing over his shoulder, but like hovering over his shoulder, like her feet are a couple inches off the ground, because I think it's all photoshopped. Although she did do a reading of her book at DeSales University when he was a student there. I looked that up. That happened. But I don't think that he was in pictures with her holding the copy of his book and, his head is all photoshopped onto that crap. Maybe I'll use that for my thumbnail for this, or I'll put it in there as part of the thumbnail. Anyway, I am going to sign off since we're coming up on 2 hours. Again, Merry Christmas, you guys. You're the best. Thanks a million. Good night, Sherry. Peace out. Love and light. So yeah, I'll be wrapping up exactly 11:11 for angels. Yeah, just remember what the holiday is really all about. And, we all need to make good choices in our lives every day. And, we all have our problems. We all have our work cut out for ourselves. We're probably all our own worst enemy in some sense. And, all you can do is try to take care of yourself, try to take care of the people around you, try to be authentic and genuine. And to me, that's just the most important thing in the world. And I love you guys. So Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Don't forget to drink your water. Let me do a little advertisement for Trader Joe's. This is really good sparkling water. It is called Winter Sangria. So check it out if you have a Trader Joe's near you. It's delicious. And yeah, just so you guys know, I'm not drinking a beer, even though that'd be fine if I was. I don't drink, but not to throw any shade on anybody who does. I can't, because one is never enough. One is too many and 1,000 is never enough. That's just who I am. That's how I roll. Again, peace out, love and light. Eat well, play well, rest well, and we will see you soon. Thanks a million, you guys. Good night. Merry Christmas.